Hi there, and welcome to the 26th episode of Career Stories Live. So today I'm joined by Ashley Leeds, who is a 15-minute guy and has had those different jobs. And as you may have seen, he was just legging it backwards and forwards across the screen. So welcome, Ashley. Thank you for joining me.
No worries at all. Nobody can see me. That's the thing. Nobody can see me. So whenever I do this, and so you've been on my show, and this is quite weird being on the other side. And I play a little bit of music as well, and I dance, and no one can see me, and then I can see the other people on the other side, and sometimes they're, and then other times they're doing that, and so I just thought I'd make you laugh because that was. And I nearly didn't come back, and I thought, oh, she's going to panic, so I didn't.
That's fine. So anyone who is watching, please do comment to let us know that you're here, where you're joining from. Feel free to ask any questions, share your experience in the comment, and if you're watching on replay, then leave your comments and we'll come back to them later. So for anyone that's not watching, and just a reminder, really, the basis for these lives in particular, I've always been really interested in what people do, why they do it. I like learning about the different roles and career paths that people have done, and that's kind of given me the idea to help give people advice, really. So we will go straight into the first question, which is, can you give me a brief intro to you and what it is you're doing right now, Ashley?
Right now, I'm on an interview with Sarah, but I teach people how to use LinkedIn, which if I'd have said that to my careers teacher when I was back at school, goodness knows how long ago, he'd have said, what's LinkedIn? And it just wouldn't have got it. We didn't even have computers at school. So there was no way that I could have trained for this while I was at school or done a degree or anything. It's just something that happened. And oh my goodness, I am so glad that it happened.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Sarah Dodd has arrived. Hi, Sarah. Nice for you to join us. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's kind of what you do now. So I always ask people about early careers now. So did you have a job whilst you were at school or college or whatever, kind of an early type career? And if so, did it help you?
I didn't. I was never a paper boy or anything. I did a little bit of babysitting. So we had a couple of friends and they had little kids. So I'd just go and sit there and watch telly and eat their biscuits and drink their coffee and get paid.
Yeah.
But then when I went to college, so prior to going to college, I went to catering college. So I'm a fully trained chef. And so I went to catering college. But prior to going to college, I went and worked with my uncle. My uncle had a hotel in Tintagel.
Okay.
And I stayed with my granny who lived in Boscastle. So I don't know if you know the area, but to get from Boscastle to Tintagel, there's no buses or anything, or there probably is once a week. So I used to cycle. And it's about 2 miles, but it's down and up and down the mountain. So it was a bit arduous. But I spent all summer there working for my uncle. And he found me loads and loads of different jobs to do so I could earn some money. So I was gardening one day, building a wall another day, waiting on every day I was waiting on tables. I was helping the cleaners and stuff like that, and just working in the hotel and really learning what a small hotel does, which was great grounding, not just as a chef, but for life.
Yeah.
Because I turned my hand to absolutely anything while I was there. So I was general dog's body, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I learned so much. And the biggest thing that I learned while I was there was good customer service earns you tips. And I had people coming to stay at the hotel, and nothing was too much trouble for me. And they all had an amazing experience while staying at the hotel. And more often than not, as they left, I got a little tip. And so one guy actually said goodbye to me while he was talking to my uncle, and he said, here's a tip for the team, but Ashley, I want you to have this. And he gave me a £10 note. Back then, £10 was like $1 million. It was amazing. And throughout my career, I've always delivered excellent customer service, and that is all because of what I learned working for my uncle all those years ago. So yeah, valuable lessons for a 16-year-old.
Definitely. I think you can't beat kind of retail or hospitality, can you, at an early age, to just kind of give you exposure to people and complaints and happy people and all of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it was a great grounding.
That's good. So John is saying hello, and he's asking what is LinkedIn. So,
oh my goodness, where do we start? My stock answer is it's like Facebook for grown-ups.
for grown-ups, exactly. Yeah, John was my guest on my second week of doing the show, so it was really good to see him.
Good afternoon, John. I like someone with a sense of humor.
Exactly. Okay, so you mentioned catering college. So my question is, how did you start? But I guess before that, what was it that interested you about catering? Did you plan that? Did you fall into it?
It was a pure accident. I lived near Newquay, so a lot of people work in the catering industry down there. I was 15. No, it must have been 14. So choosing your options. What do I want to do? What do I want to do when I leave school? All I wanted to do was be a Radio 1 DJ. So Dave Lee Travis was my hero. And I wanted to be Dave Lee Travis. I wanted to sit on the radio, play records, because I love music.
Yeah.
You can see.
Yeah.
And I like talking. And I would have been an amazing DJ. But my careers teacher back then, it was go and work in an office, or or go and work in a hotel, because there's loads of hotels in Newquay, because I went to school in Newquay. And it really didn't help me. And if I'd have got if I go to a careers teacher today and say I want to be a DJ, they'd go, oh right, okay, well you need to do this, you need to do that. Let's Google it, and we find this, and we know somebody in our network that works in hospital radio, so go and work there. And before you know it, I'm on a career path or something that would take me into the media, and goodness knows what else would happen. But back then it was dire. And so I went, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I took all 3 sciences thinking I might be a brain surgeon, but I don't like blood. So that was never going to happen. And so I was on the bus coming home from school one day. So I guess it's about 3:30, something like that. And there's this guy walking down the road. And my mate shouts out the window, shouts out, oh, I said, who's that? He says, oh, it's my brother. I said, why is he not working? Oh, he does work. What does he do? He's a chef. All right. Why is he not working there? Well, so he works in the morning, he has all afternoons off, and then he works in the evening. Oh, that sounds interesting. So I started looking at going to catering college. So I'd have been about 16 now. And I liked helping my mum in the kitchen cooking, and I like licking out the bowl when you finish baking a cake. And so that'll do. Everyone's got to eat. And there was also an advert on at the time. Some famous celebrity chef was advertising Tesco's, and he was going, oh, you might not think this is Tesco, and you might not think this is me, but it is, and I am. And I'm like, oh, maybe I could be a celebrity chef. So that was why I went into it.
Excellent. That's really good. So
it never happened.
It never happened. Okay. So Sarah has asked, what is your signature dish?
Oh my goodness. So my signature dish is my roast. Everybody loves my roast. But I do make a very nice creme brulee, and it's one of my favorite puddings as well. So yeah, creme brulee, I think, Sarah.
Okay. And John Esperian's here, so he's saying, looks like you've been on the beach, Ashley. And I bet you can't beat his rice pudding.
Oh, no. I love rice pudding. I haven't had rice pudding forever. So John, yeah, you're on.
Bacon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, so you then switched from catering into financial services. So how did that come about?
Well, I wanted to cook the book, Sarah. So look, what happens is, right, I don't know if anyone's ever worked in catering. It is an amazing industry, so much fun, vibrant, buzzing. You're with a community of people. I worked in London, I worked in France, and then I came down to the West Country, and I worked at a hotel literally just down the road here in Sidmouth, the Victoria Hotel, and that's where I met my wife 37 years ago. And we worked there for a while, and then we went and worked in a couple of other places, and we got married, and we wanted to start a family, and my wife wanted to be a stay-at-home mum, and brilliant. I wanted her to be a stay-at-home mum, because then, we're bringing the children up and all those sorts of things. And there's no way that I could have supported a family earning the money you earn as a chef and working the hours that you work as a chef. So while I was at the hotel, there was a lady that came in and did a little bit of cleaning for a little bit of pin money. Her husband had a really good job, and we'd met them a couple of times socially and invited us up for a drink and stuff like that. And he was a manager in an insurance company. And he said, you'd be a really good insurance rep. And the last thing I ever want to do is that. And then I started looking for a job because I thought, what else could I do? And I really wanted to be a car salesman. Okay, really, because I love motor cars.
I'm not sure I've ever heard anyone say that before, actually.
No, I know, isn't it weird? But I just love cars. I'm a real petrol head, and I thought so I spoke to a couple of dealerships, and they weren't taking anybody on. It was a recession, and they weren't taking anybody on. Anyway, this guy turned around to me and said, "Look, I've got a vacancy, doing financial services. You need to do this, you need to do that. I've already told you you'd be brilliant. This is how it is." I went and had an interview, and I doubled my salary within the first week, because of how poorly paid catering was back then. And so therefore I was able to keep the family, and Debs was able to be a stay-at-home mum. So it was absolutely brilliant. And I did exactly what he told me to do, and I was very successful because I was so naive in the world of business, because I'd just been a chef. Because you're in this little bubble as a chef. You just go in, you cook, have a bit of laugh, go for a drink, then that's it, rinse and repeat. It was great fun for a young man. But this was the first real business type job I'd have. And I didn't know anything. I didn't know there was a recession on. I didn't know that people would say no. And I just did exactly as what Steve told me to do. And I was very successful and really, really enjoyed it, and made an awful lot of friends. So, and I just thought, well, selling's for me. It's a great career. So that's what I did. Excellent.
So I guess that went back to your early work in the hotels as well when you were 16, about understanding that value of customer experience and customer service.
Absolutely. And one of the key roles of that job, it was back in the olden days where we actually physically collected the premium. People had an insurance, so that was like the man from the Pru, but I actually worked for a different company. And so I would physically go around and collect £8 a month off one person. So I'd have to drive to their house, collect the £8, write it in a book, sign their book, account for it all. And I used to collect about £2,000 a month, and that was my book. But because they'd turn around and go, "Oh, we haven't got the money this week," or when are you going to have it? And I'd be there for them. And then I'd get used to them. They'd get used to me. And so therefore they were getting amazing customer service. So their policies stayed on longer. They were able to save money. They had life protection and stuff like that. And then when I turned around and go, "It's about time you had another policy." "Do you think so, Ash?" "Yeah, absolutely, because it'll do this, this, and this." And I go, "Oh, right, perfect." And so it was just, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, excellent. So a perfect example of networking, isn't it? So how you got that role then? So someone that you knew as a customer and then recommended you in.
I'd never looked at it like that before, but yeah, absolutely. It would, that was early form of networking, most definitely.
Yeah, cool. Just quickly go back to the catering then. So you said you worked in France. So what did you do there?
Oh, so I had a friend. I was working in London at the time, and I had a friend. She was really, really brilliant, and she got herself a job at Club Mark Warner. So this is a company that do ski resort holidays. And in the summer, they've got seaside resort holidays, so Corfu, Kos, places like that. So basically, you go with Club Mark Warner for a holiday, and all your skiing is found, etc., and you have a lovely holiday. And then if you're into summer sports, you go to Corfu, and the staff work their socks off. 6 days a week. I earned every single penny. But they had a great life because they got free skiing, they had free accommodation, and so you spend all winter skiing and then all summer snorkeling and sailing and stuff like that. So again, as a young man, it was absolutely fantastic. So I got this. So I was writing to my friend. Remember the old letters that you folded into three? No internet, internet. And she said that they're looking for that somebody has dropped out, and therefore they're desperate. They need some staff there. And so I had an interview, and because I could go next week, I got the job. So literally, I went out there at the very end of the ski season, had an absolute blast, worked my socks off.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it really was. So I was only out there for 3 or 4 weeks, but it was great fun. And then I got the job to go to Corfu. When I got the job to go to Corfu, I came back to the West Country, stayed with my folks, and then saw the local paper, and there was this job at Sidmouth that was offering an awful lot more money, but a higher role. So I would have been the equivalent of a manager, and it was above me. It was a stretch, but I excelled in the interview, got the job. So I never went to Corfu.
Okay.
But I met my wife, so
You
it was
met
the
your wife.
best thing. It was the best thing
So
I ever did.
you can't regret not going to coffee.
No, not at all. Not at all. I
Everything
mean,
happens for a reason, doesn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
do you think those kind of things are good for gap years, for like people that are maybe thinking about having some time out in their career or before going to university or that kind of thing?
Oh, absolutely. You get to see the world.
Yeah.
And as I've grown up and seen other people, I would have loved to have worked on a cruise ship. How much
Yeah.
fun would that
Yeah.
have been?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it wasn't open to us back then,
Yeah.
or if it was, you didn't really know about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely fantastic idea for gap year. And like we said earlier, you learn skills for life.
Mm.
You're not just learning how to how to silver serve something or wash a pot. You're learning skills for life. And I think it's all of those sort of things that have made me the person that I am now, that
Yeah.
gives me the confidence to come on and talk to people like
Yeah.
yourself,
Exactly. Yeah.
or set
Yeah.
my own business up, or go networking or whatever else. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And funny you mentioned the cruise ship. That's what my 17-year-old is talking about at the moment. He's at music college learning bass for his kind of equivalent to A-levels, and that's what he's saying. Maybe he'll go work on a cruise ship and be a musician in the band.
Yeah, absolutely. What a fantastic opportunity. If you
Yeah.
can do that, yeah, get to travel the world. But you get to meet some amazing people. And some
Yeah.
of these people working on cruise ships end up doing all kinds of amazing things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you never know. You're really opening yourself up
Definitely.
to opportunity, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you had a fair few roles in financial services, and then switched to working in tech and software. So was this more sales type work? So you kind of transferring those skills, or?
Yeah. So look, if you can sell anything.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as you believe in it. And so I've never chased the dollar or the huge success. What I've done is worked in a company that I enjoy, worked in a company where there's people that I love, and worked in a company where I can spend time with my family. So, if it means I've got to travel all over the place and I'm not home, I don't want to work there, and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I just sort of like, I'm fed up with this job now. I'm going to try something else. And so worked in a number of different jobs. And then we got offered this amazing opportunity that didn't work out. And then we ended up with nowhere to live and no job. And so we stayed in Sidmouth, and I saw an advert, a job for working in the tech industry, and got the job. And so that's how I ended up working in the tech industry. So again, purely by accident,
Yeah.
and what circumstances had come around. But yeah, best, really, really good job it was.
Yeah.
One of the best jobs I have had. And that opened me up, because I was selling software to accountants. That opened me up to the accounting space, which
Right.
is where I have been now for the last 16 years.
Right. Okay. Okay, good. And is that what's kind of started you looking at things like LinkedIn, kind of the tech type stuff, or was that still a bit early?
Well, no. So when I was there, I started using LinkedIn, but really didn't understand the pure networking benefit and content creation and how all that works. And I was getting involved with content creation while I was there, but in a totally different way.
Yeah.
But then what I ended up doing is working in a coaching position a few years ago, working with accountants, and I was helping them to get known and leads and stuff like that on LinkedIn. So working really closely with them made me realize that this LinkedIn is an amazing thing, and maybe I could teach it and make money from teaching it and doing associated things with it.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, that's good. So you're also a working musician alongside of what you're doing now and what you did in the past. So you've pretty much done that all the way along, haven't you? So how does that work? How do you manage those different priorities?
So you say working musician. I do the odd gig, Sarah. I do the odd gig.
You get paid. That's
I know. So I've always sung. So I was in the church choir, the school choir. I've been in theatre productions. So I've been the dame in Panto, the villain in Panto, and all those sorts of things. And you're up on stage just singing and doing all that sort of stuff. And I love singing. And so I ended up getting a gig with a band as the lead singer, and doing all of that, and that was great fun. And then I started working with a guy called Will Vine. So he's a friend of mine. I've known him now for 14 years. We've been together for 14 years as Vine and Dandy.
Right.
And while I was with Will, I had a phone call from somebody. Said, "Oh, can you come and do a gig?" So I phoned up Will, and Will couldn't do it. So I phoned up the band, and the drummer couldn't do it. And I went back and I said, look, I'm really sorry, we can't do the gig. And they said, oh, if you could play the guitar, Ash, you could just come on your own. Guitar. So that's why I bought that one with the white on it. So that's an acoustic guitar. So I bought that guitar and started to try and learn it. And when you're old and you're a singer, trying to learn an instrument at the same time is just crazy. You're trying to do a job and your family and stuff like that. So it's taken me an awful long time to learn to play the guitar. But now I can go out on my own as well. So yes, if anyone wants to hire me to come and sing, I can do that. But it's a hobby.
Yeah.
So if I've got a gig this weekend, brilliant. If I haven't got a gig this weekend, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So it's kind of a side hustle type thing that you'll do as
but it's a passion of mine.
Yeah.
I've got to charge, because if I don't charge, people don't value. But I don't really care.
Yeah.
I just love, what I really love is stood up there, either with the band or on my own, but seeing people enjoy themselves. If they're up dancing, I know I'm doing a good job. And sometimes they're just sat there chatting, but you can see their little foot tapping, or they're singing along to the chorus. And to bring people joy just brings me joy. So yeah, that's what I love about it, really.
Excellent. Okay. So you've also had or have some volunteering roles. So Guide Dog Puppies, Chamber of Commerce. So do you want to just talk a bit about what you do and why you enjoy it?
Oh my goodness. So when I lived in a village donkeys years ago, I got involved in absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So I was on the PTA. I can't remember whether I was chair of PTA or what have you, but I was chair of the youth club. I was chair of the Millennium Committee. So we set up a committee to do things to celebrate the millennium, and then we ended up doing a festival. So I was the chairman of that. And when I was involved in the twinning committee, there was loads of different things that I was involved in. So loads and loads of volunteering. And then when we moved, I said, look, I'm not going to do any more. I've been there, done that, got all the T-shirts. I went on the PTA when we first got here because the kids were at school, but as soon as they left, I left that. And then recently, my family wanted a dog. Well, for the last 30 years, they've wanted a dog, but I don't like dogs, so we're never having one. But then one day I thought, well, I speak to people that don't want children, and why would you not want children? And so I thought, well, I'm being exactly the same with the dog. So I didn't want to get a dog and it not work out, because like 130,000 dogs are destroyed every year because people take them on and don't look after them. And so I thought, well, guide dogs, they'll give you a free dog, and they give you all the help and training. And at the end of the day, that dog then goes on to change somebody's life.
Yeah.
Just the most incredible thing I've ever been involved in, Sarah.
Really?
Oh my goodness. So here I am. I said I don't like dogs, and I joke about it.
Yeah.
I'm a dog person now.
Yeah.
Okay? I totally get it. But you get this tiny little puppy, probably a little bit bigger than that, 6 weeks old. We get them, and our role is to socialize them, get them house trained, get them people trained so they don't jump up and stuff like that. And the training that we get to train them is incredible. So I get people stopping me in the street. Oh, my dog's doing this. What do you think?
Yeah.
I never knew this stuff, but now I'm the dog whisperer. But the day they come and take the puppy away to go to the next level of training, yeah, it's awful. It's awful. Yeah. And I could go into great detail and you'll get me crying. So I'm not going to do that today. Yeah. But then you get a note saying that the dog has been given to a person with, sight loss or something, or vision impairment, and their life is changed. And that takes away all the heartache. Yeah. It really is an incredible thing to do. Yeah. We're not doing it at the moment because our heart was broken with the last one. And we've got loads going on. My daughter's getting married soon and stuff like that. But we may go back to it. We help every now and again. The local lady will turn around and go, oh, so-and-so's going on holiday. Can you have their puppy? So we'll have the puppy for a few days or a week or so. But yeah, it's an incredible thing to do. So if anyone wants to know anything about that, then I wax lyrical about it. I think it's an amazing charity. Yeah. And could you imagine not having sight?
I know. Yeah.
and what guide dogs do, what the organization do to help, you know, people with vision impairment is incredible. So yeah, it's a big passion of mine.
Yeah, good, thank you. Okay, so just quickly move on to values. So everyone so far has mentioned their values in some way, and you've kind of touched on this already, but do your personal values have an impact on the type of organization or work or role that you will take on?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about giving.
Yeah.
Okay. And I left my last role because we had to charge for it.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got to make money, but surely you've got to help people. If someone's struggling, if they just want a phone call. I'm working with a client at the moment, and they had a really, really big meeting yesterday. And so I messaged them yesterday and said, look, been thinking about your day. I'm going for my walk now. If you're happy to have a chat with me while I'm walking by the seafront, more than happy for you to call me. They called me, asked them how it got on. They let me know how it got on. Absolutely fine. It cost me 10, 15, 20 minutes of my time while I was walking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Previous employers would have turned around and go, oh, you got to bill on that.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about. That is not what it's about.
Yeah.
That person saw me today and said, that was lovely what you did. Thank you so much. And it's not what you do for somebody, it's how you make them feel.
Yeah.
And that's why I do it.
Yeah.
That's why I do it. So yeah, those are my values. It's all about helping people, honesty, integrity, all those sorts of things. So yeah, it is very important to me. And so yeah, I have left roles in the past where, you know, it just doesn't align with me. I've never been one of these people that. So I've had 30 years in sales, but in all of those 30 years, I don't think I've ever sold anything. I think I've made it so that people have bought what it is I'm offering.
Yeah. Yeah.
And therefore they're you know, they're longer term customers. They appreciate what you do rather than having your arm bent around your back because it's a deal you can only get today.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my whole philosophy.
Okay, that's all good. Okay, so I'm going to skip on to advice now. So what advice would you give to people who are wanting to start out in catering?
Don't.
Excellent.
No, look, it's totally changed now.
Yeah.
When I was in catering, you got kicked around the kitchen, you got sworn at. The conditions were horrendous. It's hard work. It is absolutely hard work. But the advice that I was given when I first started was don't stay in a job too long, because then you can learn from working with other people. And then if I was going to start in catering today, my goal was to have my own restaurant, and I worked in the wrong places, and I met the wrong woman. Okay, I fell in love, and we wanted to start a family, and then that wasn't conducive to running your own business. So if that's what you want to do, follow your heart and do it, but you've got to be selfish, because it's really difficult to then start doing all the other things. It's hard work, but it is so rewarding, and make sure you work for a company that appreciate you.
Okay. And then one other advice question. So for people who are wanting to get into music full time, so I know that's not something you've done, but what would you advise people if they did want to do that?
Go and speak to other people that are already doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but whenever I'm lost in a city and I ask somebody, they always point me in the right direction, or they say they don't know because they're in the city and they don't know it either.
Yeah.
We are conditioned to help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you just reach out and say, look, I see you're doing this, or I see you're doing that, then go out and do it. But what you want to be doing is writing your own stuff.
Yeah.
If you write your own stuff, then that has got a value.
Yeah.
So it's those sorts of things that you need to be thinking about. But people would be so happy to help you. If you're looking to do gigs and stuff like that, go to open mic nights. Just practice. George Ezra, Ed Sheeran talk relentlessly about all the open mics that they did. And every time you stand up and do an open mic, you might only get 3 songs, but that's all part of your 10,000 hours flying time, isn't it? And so it's all it all needs to be done.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Okay, so what's the best way for people to get in touch with you, Ashley, if they want to work with you?
Well, there's this platform called LinkedIn, right? And so if you go on to LinkedIn, you can find me. I am the 15-minute guy.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm the 15-minute guy. So I think if you Google 15-minute guy, you might find me. But yeah, definitely on LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn all the time. I pay for premium, which means that anybody can send me a message on LinkedIn. So send me a message, say hi, and yeah, let's connect.
Yeah. And what does the 15-minute guy mean for people that don't know?
What does it mean? Okay. So I don't know about you, but you watch a webinar. Someone does a webinar. It's an hour long. And they've got the first 10, 15 minutes is all about how wonderful they are and how wonderful their product is. And then they share a little bit of value, not a lot. And then they spend the next, 10, 15, 20 minutes at the end trying to sell you. And I think this is ridiculous. I just want to get value from this. So, and again, we have an hour's long meeting and we spend 10 minutes talking about the weather and all that sort of malarkey. Let's just get down to basics. So I started doing 15-minute sessions, and my teaching in my LinkedIn is also 15 minutes long. So I do a whole week's course. So it's 15 minutes every day. So it's short, sharp shock. You learn a little bit today, get a little bit of homework, do a little bit the next day, do a little bit the next day. And the reason I say 15 minutes is when someone comes on my workshop, I say, block out 15 minutes for this week, but then block out 15 minutes for the rest of your life. Because if you go in and do LinkedIn for 15 minutes every day, that's 65 hours a year. And that's 65 hours more than most people are doing.
Yeah, perfect. Good. Very good idea. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me today, Ashley. There's been loads of good advice in here. So thank you. And thank you to everyone that's been watching. It's great to see you all here. So I'm off for 2 weeks now, but I'll be back on the 15th of June with Kenneth Lang. So he is a job search strategist based out in New Jersey. So that's going to be good to have a chat to him. So thanks again. Thank you, Ashley. And see you all in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Sarah. Cheerio.
Bye. My overlay's gone. There it is.